Oh, hey there, how you doing? This is Lifted Conscious yet with another video tonight because I guess I'm feeling good. I also didn't go anywhere. My Saturday night has been me creating some more. I put out a new poem called The Heart of a Goddess for all my queens out there. I also wrote a new blog entry if you want to check it out at liftedconscious.com. And I made a new video before this one talking about how to write poetry and the benefits of meditative writing, if you are interested in watching my ramblings. But besides that, happy Sunday, because it's Sunday now. It was Saturday like an hour ago for me. Hey, still celebrating, right? So I'm making this video back to talking about my personal journey, how it started, and how I went about it, and how I think people should go about it. I get a lot of questions asking me, how do I start my personal journey? Or how do I become more spiritual? In terms of answers to that question, you are already spiritual. You were spiritual the moment you were born. Life is a spiritual practice. Loosely saying. I didn't think about that too much. Anyways, I want this vibe to be like if I'm hanging out next to you, because I'm your friend. I'm just your friend, and I'm holding this snowball, and I'm having some wine right next to you. This is what we're doing, just hanging out. Anyways, so where can I start? First off, I've been always a very, very rebellious child. I credit a lot of it on the fact that I lost my dad when I was 10 years old. He had a heart attack because he was obese and didn't take care of himself. He drank a lot. I come from a family of alcoholics, so it's been this is me while drinking this, saying that while drinking this. What can we do? All habits die hard. Anyways, it's funny because hey, everything's about it. Everything's about that. You create new habits for yourself. I can have a little wine on Saturday night. Nothing wrong with that. This is the face of a woman that's feeling guilty. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so back to my journey. So my dad died when I was 10, and I had to grow up fairly quickly. I was here in the United States with my mom, and it was just her and me. I'm an only child, and all my family's back in Colombia. So things were tough. I became very emotionally disconnected. I was very defensive, very rebellious. I thought the world was out to get me. I didn't know how to keep deep connection. Besides the fact that I was so emotionally repressed, I didn't have any experience with family members because it was just my mom and me. It's been a fairly odd life for me, very unconventional. So I totally understand anything that's unconventional because my life has never been conventional, not 1 second. So that was me. I was never really into doing a lot of drugs except weed. I indulged in it a lot when I was young. When I was like 13. Indulged into it a lot more later on in life. I'll get to that. But as a teenager, very rebellious. Dressed like a crazy person. Dyed my hair weekly. Bleached it. Every color you can think of. I call that hair anxiety. I think I was trying to fulfill myself through killing my hair. Thank God that's over. I stopped dyeing my hair like 4 years ago, and like I feel so much better about myself now. I dropped out of school in high school. I thought high school wasn't for me, and I realized that it was because of my teachers and the way that the education system was. I was in a school that it was like very individual learning type. Students were smart and they didn't really need much help. It was like independent learning type. And it's funny because all schools should have teachers that help kids that need help. For lack of better words, I needed help. I was totally uninterested in school, and school to me was boring. I fell asleep every class. It wasn't until I dropped out and I got convinced by my friend to go back to school that I realized that learning was beautiful. I went to a school of troubled children, so there was a lot of teachers that actually wanted to help, and I took advantage of that, and I learned a lot, and I saw the value of learning and of an education system. obviously, the education system is very structured, and that's very frustrating for a lot of us that are very creative. But I was fortunate enough to find a group of teachers that helped me. And to this day, I talk to them. They're like my really, really good life friends. They were there for me, and they inspire that learning thing in me, that curiosity. And I'm very grateful for that. Because in the midst of all my disconnection, that came as a wake-up call, like, oh my God, you dropped out of school, you went back, and you graduated. You're able to do things that you don't believe you can. But then I went back to reality. And before I tell you about that, let me take a drink. I didn't have a green card. I was an immigrant. So I couldn't go to school unless I was like really good at a sport or had like a really, really good luck. I couldn't get a job because I didn't have a green card. I basically didn't exist to the system. And that was very frustrating for a teenager who had dreams. They all came crashing down. I signed up for school, didn't give me my classes because I didn't have a valid ID. That day, I kind of let go of every single hope that I had, and I became very hopeless. I didn't have a vision. I didn't see a future. I didn't see anything, and I wasn't even worried because I was so emotionally disconnected. I wasn't worried. So I started getting regular jobs after high school, working here and there, and then something happened. I fell in love with a really good friend at that. Meaning I didn't notice when that happened. And thank God, because if I would have noticed, I would have ran away just like every time. Just like all of us, because we run away from love. Such a scary little thing. Such a scary, huge thing. Anyways. I fell in love, and that changed my life. It woke me up back to this beautiful, pervading love that is all over everything, that is everything. I saw myself in somebody else. I saw all the things that I have to improve. I saw who I really was and what I needed to let go of in order to reach full potential. I was so frustrated and so repressed that I questioned my own existence so much, and I had so much time. I stopped working and doing anything towards anything for like 4 years of my life. I was high, always, 24/7. And although that does seem like a very bad period, wow, it did so much for me. I had nothing to do, so I had so much time to think about myself, which was very beautiful. And I think that's the thing about doing nothing. We gain a lot when we do nothing. The importance is the balance. We have to learn to give ourselves time to do nothing as well as doing something towards what we're creating or what we're trying to manifest. But I did nothing during this relationship, and it was a very tough relationship. Luckily, I fell in love with a great man who is still my friend until this day, and I'm very grateful for his existence because he is a king. Shout out to him, by the way. I'll never regret that relationship, as hard as it was. We were young and emotionally repressed. We didn't really know how to go about it. It was tough. That's the easiest way to put it. But it woke me up to myself. And it made me gain courage. And especially in the topic of emotions. So in terms of how to start your spiritual journey or how you should go about it, I think you should focus on what you want out of it. Do you want to reach a trance-like nirvana meditation and talk to higher beings, aliens? Is that your ultimate goal? Or do you want to heal? Because why are you on earth if it's not to shed layers of ego and remember who you really are? Healing is crucial to our existence. For me, I didn't know none of this yet. This is all through my intuition. I run on intuition. And I realized I was very, very emotionally repressed, and I realized I needed to focus on that. So I started to become stronger in terms of not getting overwhelmed by my emotions. And I think it's safe to say that if you're listening to this video, or if you're a follower of me in any of my social networks or any of my stuff, you and I are alike in that way. We have this passion, this power inside of us, and we feel it, and we don't know what to do with it. And I think that has been one of my biggest struggles in life, coming to terms with this power and how to handle it and how to get the most out of it. And I learned a lot. I am no longer the person that cries when she's overwhelmed with emotions. I am no longer the person that can't even express herself when she's mad or sad. I used to be that person. So I feel you, and I feel that struggle, and it hurts to not be your utmost self because your emotions are drowning you. But then you realize that you do not have to identify yourself with them. You do not have to be them. And with time, with dedication, with willingness, and by putting your heart into it, you can accomplish these things. It's all about reprogramming your mind from all the old patterns and all the things that you acquired from your environment and your experiences. I did it, and I know that you can too. And this is why I spend so much time writing about this and talking about it. Because our world suffers a huge emotional repression. And if I can help any soul out there come to terms with their power, then I'm doing more than enough. Because I'm doing it for myself. So that's the only reason that I know that others can do it. You know, it's a self-healing that translates to other people. I'm not here to heal you. I'm here to help you realize that you can heal yourself by being in time, in the present moment, and taking care of what you have to take care of, and reprogramming your mind through conscious willingness. This is how much I have changed. I was defensive. I was mad inside. I was filled with grudges. I thought everybody was out to get me. I thought I was a victim of everything. I fought. I argued. This is what I did. I was a fighter. But I wasn't fighting to change the world. I was fighting to prove myself that I was worthy of love and belonging. And that doesn't deserve a fight, because you are already worthy of love and belonging. You don't need to prove that to anybody. You don't need anybody to approve that. When you come to terms with that, you shift your focus. You shift it towards creating a better world, whether it's this little small world within this little small consciousness, local consciousness, which directly translates into the bigger picture. So you change the world by changing yourself. And we all know this is the oldest quote on the book. The problem is actually doing it, you know? And that has been for me. My focus in my journey has been my emotions, because they have overwhelmed me and they have nearly killed me and given me 1,000 ego deaths, from which I learned nothing until I realized what was actually happening. So I'm no longer scared to get uncomfortable. If anything, I thrive from it because I want to transcend the discomfort that I feel because of my emotions. I am not my emotions. This is what I have learned. I do not have to identify myself with them. I might feel envy, but I am not envious. Perhaps they're just little fragments left from another time in my life that's stuck and are embedded in my subconscious, but it is not who I am. And these things that you do not want to feel are not who you are. And if I was able to release them, I know you can too. So ask yourself what you want to get out of your journey. And it will help you realize what your soul needs and what you need to focus on in terms of research and self-observation and self-reflection. Practice stillness. Practice observing your thoughts, learning, releasing, so you can create a better world for yourself and for everyone else. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about my life. Cheers to that. Happy New World. I hope you have a great night.